Welcome to the Colorful Clipboard, where we discuss the building blocks of making dough in childcare. I'm Kate.
And I'm Carrie.
Welcome back to Colorful Clipboard. We are really excited to talk to you this week.
Woohoo!
And so with that, Carrie, tell everybody why we are so excited.
Our book, From Overwhelmed to I Got This, The Guaranteed Success Route to Directing Your Childcare Center by Carrie Casey and Kate Woodward Young, has been published. Everybody can go buy their copy. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Absolutely. So, everybody has things that they say they're going to do, and this is one of those things that we said we were going to do. And I think the first time we talked about this, Carrie, was probably 15 years ago.
That's
and
possible.
We've talked about doing it as a Kindle. We've talked about doing it as a book. We've talked about it in all kinds of different formats.
And we talked about it being the first book, and we talked about doing a series. Are you ready to do a series now? You ready?
Yeah! So Carrie has another series going. So if you don't already know, Carrie is actually a best-selling author of children's books. So if you need some awesome children's books, you have got to look her up. And actually, Carrie and I did a joint book about emergency preparedness for kids. And so we love that little book, and gotta love some chickens.
Yep.
So if you don't know what that's about, go look for some chickens.
That book is also going to be a series because Deborah was like, hey, what about wildfires like burn down my house? And I was like, oh, yeah. And then Margie had suggested doing one about tornadoes. And then the next day I drove through a tornado. Well, I didn't drive through the tornado, but I was driving and the tornado was out my window.
And we've got flooding. Yeah, we definitely have an awful lot of natural disasters, and that would be an awesome series. You're right.
Yeah.
So I have a 2021-2022 bucket list for myself. And when I started the list, there were about 40 things. And then one of my life coaches suggested I put 101 things on my list.
Oh, my Lord.
I know. So in my 101 was actually really making sure that we got this book done in 2021. So Carrie has by far taken the lead on making sure that we find the right team members at the budget we can afford. And we have also made it an audio book. So I'm so excited. So those of you who are listening to us will have even more hours of us talking that you're going to get to listen to, and that you can, literally school in your car, right? Car university. So how exciting is that? So what do they need to do this week to get some of the specials and deals that we've got going, Carrie?
Well, there's still a chance to get a free copy of the book and be part of our launch team. They just need to email hello@colorfulclipboard.com, and they can be part of our launch team. And that basically means you get a free copy of the book so you can read it for free, and then we would love it if you would also go in and buy it for $1.99 or 99 cents, whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. And if you want a Kindle version, or you can get the paperback version, and we want you to leave a review, an honest review of the book. So that is the big deal. And then whether you were part of the launch team or not, if you want the time management journal and the do not disturb sign to hang on your office that goes with the book, all you have to do is shoot a picture of your receipt for having purchased it and send that to us along with where you would like me to mail your mail, and I will mail that to you. Oh, with that, you also have to have the review. So everybody, I need reviews, guys. It's a big deal for the Amazon algorithm. It's not that I need to hear what you thought of the book. It's that Amazon needs to hear what you thought about the book. So just take a picture of that review or your receipt and send it to us at hello@colorfulclipboard or carrie@texasdirector.org, and we'll send you the time management journal and the do not disturb door hanger.
Okay, so we get presents and gifts, we get free books. All we have to do is read and write about it. Well, what if I don't live in Texas?
Yeah, this book is not just for Texas directors. I do talk about Texas, or we do talk about Texas a few times, but we also talk about Europe. And I think we talk about Ohio and definitely about Yellowstone Park. So you can be
And we
from
probably talked about Florida in there somewhere.
probably, but you can be anywhere on the planet as long as you work in the early childhood or after school realm. This book will be helpful to you, I think. I mean, the person
You
who
know, in reality, I think this book is great for people who maybe aspire to be a director.
That's true. That's
And
true.
there is such great information in here. If you just think you are an entrepreneur or you're thinking about being a business owner, because, you can almost do a search and replace. And 90% of what we talk about is applicable in almost any industry. So whether it's the location, whether it's figuring out your target market, whether it's marketing, whether it's hiring, firing.
The child development section probably would not be applicable, but even if you're just a teacher who's doing a side hustle, like you're selling stuff on Etsy or Teachers Pay Teachers, this book would still be helpful to you because, again, it's talking about how to run a business and not be overwhelmed by running a business.
You know what? I think even parents, this would be a great resource for parents who have kids in childcare because, again, we've had a fair amount of our directors who've come through who were parents and, they started doing the math and they thought, oh, this is definitely a lucrative business until they get in the business and start realizing all of the reason the prices are the prices, right? But it's still a great opportunity for you as a parent to learn about what your kids should be learning or best practices in the field. So if you are somebody who likes books and likes to learn and you have children who are in preschool or early care age groups, this is still something you might want to consider adding to your library.
And I just want to say that Kate and I like the book because Kate and I wrote the book. So, we are a bit biased. But the editor of this book said that this was the most amazing self-help career book she had ever read. And she thinks that every director should read it in their first 2 years in the job. And she was a director, as well as being an editor and a writer herself. So
okay, so can you give this as a gift? Would that be something that maybe you could do?
absolutely. And I have to say that if you are in a large organization where you have executive directors and assistant directors and enrollment coordinators or curriculum coordinators or office managers, I would give this book to them also because they need to know what all goes into this job. Because if somebody's an assistant director now, they probably want to be a director then. And we don't want them to get that job and then be overwhelmed by it.
So what a great resource. So here we are giving you for $1.99 at the most, probably, right, this week. Go get a whole bunch of copies of the book as Kindles. Host a book club with your senior executive staff. If you want, give us a call. Email us at hello@colorfulclipboard.com. And we'll even work with you to set up, training sessions around the book, discussions. We want this book to be what you need it to be. And so it's not something to, use it however you use it. If you like a hard copy, a printed copy, get yourself a printed copy, get your little Post-it notes, your flags, your highlighters, your pen. This is your opportunity to make notes that are going to apply for you and your business and your success. I mean, who wants to be stressed? I mean, it's October, right? You are about to get into the best and busiest time of the year for families, and why not give yourself something? Give yourself this gift of allowing yourself to not be overwhelmed, and let us help you through that process.
I just, again, want to reiterate that this book is to help people not be overwhelmed by the job of being a director. If you have days, weeks, months, I don't know, the past year and a half that has made you feel overwhelmed, this book is for you. And I like all of my self-help books to be physical because then I can write it and I can put those post-it notes Kate was talking about. I still have a hard time writing and highlighting in books, but I am a big believer in post-it notes and post-it noting all over the book. And this is the kind of book I wish I had had when I was 23 years old and I became a director for the first time. There wasn't a book like this. There still isn't another book like this. All of the books for directors are either textbooks for a college course in administering a childcare program, or they're about marketing, or they're about opening a center. Your center's already open, and marketing is not all that there is to do as a director. It's only like maybe 25% of your job, but probably not even that much. There is so much more to this job, and you need support for all of it, not just marketing or opening the doors. Off my soapbox now, stepping down.
So we've talked a little bit about who this book might be for. So Carrie, what do you think is something in this book that maybe people haven't heard before, or a reason why maybe this book versus maybe just listening to our podcast? Why would you need this book versus just listening to us here?
Well, for one thing, this is, according to our audio engineer, less than 7 hours, or right at 7 hours of information, condensing decades into hours, not decades into days, decades into hours, decades of our experience. And we've worked really hard to try to make some of the scary concepts like business planning or your business plan easy to understand and easy to actually do. And it comes with a workbook that you can download that has, you can take the information and then work through it in the workbook. So we don't give you a workbook in our podcasts. You don't get a workbook if you take a course from us. We're notoriously stingy about handouts because we're environmentally friendly and we refuse to print out handouts that you're just going to recycle when we come do a session at your center or see you at a conference. If you want something to get your hands dirty with, I think this is that thing. We have a lot of opportunities to listen to somebody tell us how we should do it, but we don't get a whole lot of opportunities to actually practice.
So you're telling me that in like 7 hours of listening to us talk, I can run a center? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure I really understand.
I don't dare to say that we have explained everything you're going to need to do in a center, but if you're already in this job or you're about to take this job, instead of having your shoulders up around the top of your head and being stressed out to the max, you can relax them a little bit. You can set some tiger time aside every day or every week, and you'll know how to do that. And you'll know how to shoot monkeys and, handle the zoo that is a childcare center. I mean, when you first became a director, what was your biggest fear when you first became a director?
Well, so I'm going to go with when I first had multiple staff versus just when I got in the business or the industry.
Okay.
And to me, the biggest hurdle was really being able to communicate with all of them, because that we had age issues, we had people who knew people issues, there were people who had applied for the job and didn't get it issues. There were just all kinds of things that I was very overwhelmed with as far as being able to manage my staff. And so it took me a long time to start to figure out who did what well, right? And so like even some of the stuff in our observation chapter, I'm like, wish I knew this, 30 years ago kind of stuff. So
Yeah,
there are definitely components within the book and within our experiences that we share that hopefully if you read the book, do the workbook pages, and again, this is not one of those books that you just listen to for 7 hours and boom, you got it, right? It's read, listen to a chapter or a section. And by the way, there's a lot of them, but they're short. They're
Yep.
designed for the drive to work. And then take a break, do the workbook. Really, you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Or, if you're not doing the audiobook because, that's not out yet, if you're doing the ebook or the paperback, it's designed so that you can spend 5 to 10 minutes going over it and processing it during those busy days. We didn't write this so that you have 30-page chapters that you have to chew on and digest. There are some chapters that are like 3 pages. And just deal with that concept, digest it, and move on.
Well, and the other thing that I think was really great is that we didn't worry about trying to fill it full of fluff. We tried to give you the information that you needed to do this job. And we know there are chapters where you can find whole books on the subject, right? So, ages and stages, right? There are semester-long classes. There's,
Yeah.
Right. You could spend an entire one just on infants. So we did not give everything you ever needed to know in our ages and stages chapter.
Because that's not what you need to know as a director. You need to know the basic frameworks, how to observe a child and see something that is abnormal, and what do you do if that happens? How do you support your staff? How do you help the parents? That's what you need to know. If you've got a kid who is 4 years old and is doing long division with remainders in your classroom, you need to know how to find resources for them. That's what you need to be able to do.
Because that's not normal.
Yeah. I don't think I put her in the book. I should have put her in the book. Maybe I did put her in the book. Because every time somebody talks about a kid who's not normal, you think of somebody who's developing under the normal curve. There's also kids on the other side, and, you need to know as a director, how can you support your staff and kids and parents in dealing with normal, below normal, and above normal in each of the different developmental areas. You don't have to know it all now. You need to know how to find resources. That's your job as a director.
Absolutely. So you are a research assistant.
Yep.
And you are a problem solver. You are a monkey shooter. You have so many different hats that all we want to do is to make sure that you are not overwhelmed and to help guide you through the maze that is your career path currently. And so that you know exactly where you're going, what to do when you run into that obstacle, and know that you've got this.
Absolutely. You can do it. We believe in you. Hopefully this book has given you enough support. And if you decide after reading it that, you need some coaching support or you need to be getting more of us, we can do that. But let's start here. Start with what we can give you in this book, a couple 100 pages, and, it'll get you there. So go to your local independent bookseller and ask them to order it for you if they don't have it in stock, which they probably don't, or go on Amazon and get it, and it should be to you within a few days.
Thank you all for joining in. If you've liked what you've listened to, we hope that you will share our podcast with other directors. We hope that you take the initiative to join our marketing team. Get your freebies, get your swag. We can't wait to share more with you, and look for us again next week. We've got more information and a lot of fun stuff coming up in the next couple of months.
Thank you for listening to Colorful Clipboards. Connect with us on social media at Colorful Clipboard, or send us an email to hello@colorfulclipboards.
Send us your voicemail with your own questions and stories. If you want to keep learning with us, visit Texas Director, where we continue to have seminars, licensing, programs, and more.
This show has been made by me, Carrie Casey, and Kate Young, with assistance from Hallie Casey and Marie Young. If you learned something today, share the show.